Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, good day. Bonjour, bonacita, hola. Here we go. It's the Squared Circle, TSC, coming to you on podcast, on show, on recorded. Andy Evans here, of course, joined as always by my tag team partner. He is back. He's my brother from another mother.
Back.
Yeah, and at that point, hundreds of people are turning off right now. It's Sam Mellows. How you doing, good sir?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Glad to be back. Yeah, everything's looking good. So yeah, thank you for letting me have a bit of time off to be focusing on family. But I'm back. I'm back with the TSC family.
Well, you're back with your extended family, TSC. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a hobby. We don't get paid for this. We get a lot of perks out of it in terms of Impact Wrestling. Look above on the top of the screen. More on that coming up soon because I've got confirmation. We'll be talking more about that in just a second. Right, Sam, if you would like to get in contact with us on social media, how would you go about doing it?
Come find us on Facebook. Come find us on Instagram. Come find us on X. Come find us on Threads. And you'll find us at TSC Wrestling Pod. Or just use the hashtag TSC Pod. You also find us on Spotify. You'll find us on YouTube, and you'll find us on a lot of the other podcast sites. Why wouldn't you join us? And if you're on YouTube, leave a comment, leave a like. If you're not already subscribed, if you're not already one of our 602 subscribers, why aren't you? I'm sorry, but why aren't you?
How many did you say?
602.
600.
Or is it more than that?
And 22. Thank you very much.
What? Okay, so if you're not part of the 622 already, make it 623, if not more. Keep subscribing, and when you have that little bell, yeah, press it, change it to all. Say anything we have up, it goes to you, because we're going to be putting out a lot of community things, be it polls, be it questions. Oh, please get involved. Please get involved. And if you're going over to Spotify where you can watch us now, not just listen, but watch us, leave a 5-star review because it helps us make us get up the ratings. You can tell I'm back. You can tell I have had some numbers today. You can tell I've had a really nice beef stew made by my good wife. So I'm in a really, really good mood. Why not? I'm so glad to be back, guys.
You know what? You couldn't tell. You absolutely couldn't tell. If anybody thinks I'm a bit distracted, it's because I am. I'm still working at the moment. I've dealing with a couple of work issues, so I might be looking away slightly. But Sam, it is great to have you back, and it's great to have you back on those numbers, which Sam is having in his very own TSC mug, which we didn't even plan any of this, so he didn't know this was coming. But there it is. Look. TSC on the front, and on the back of the mug, we will be talking.
Try not to spill my cup of joe.
Don't spill your cup of joe. We will be talking Trek. Brand new podcast coming to this channel very, very soon. I know Mike was very excited about talking Trek. All right, coming up this week on the show, Sam, we have got a big one. We've kind of taken the format and thrown it out the window.
And why not?
Tonight. Why have we thrown it out the window?
You could kind of say that we've released it out the window.
Ooh.
Sorry, too soon.
Yeah, very, very too soon. Yes, too soon, my friend. Too soon, my friend. We've basically said the news. What news? There's only one thing to talk about. That's gone out the window. We do have wrestling history. That is back. And if we have time, we have challenge and wrestling moment of the week. But we are going to kick it off, as we always do, with this, which is Talking Point. Last week on this show, Mike and I discussed Mike McGuire from McGuire on Wrestling. I want to give a big shout out to Mike for stepping in at the last minute to join me for what was a really entertaining show, even if he didn't agree with half of the things that I was saying. And then, also going, "Where's your source?" I was like, "I don't know. I can't remember." But thanks, Mike. Radio DJ extraordinaire. Check him out on Maguire Wrestling, Maguire on Wrestling every week on podcast. All you need to do is search for Maguire on Wrestling, and you can listen to him, Dave Meltzer, and anybody else who's on that stream. It is cracking. I love it. You love it. We love Mike. We love Maguire on Wrestling. So thank you for that.
Cheers, Mike.
We were only talking though last week about the takeover of Endeavour to WWE, the formation of the TKO group, 49% stake in WWE, the roster cuts in terms of the internal office, and where we said there's not going to be any talent cuts. That's not going to happen. How wrong were we? How wrong were we?
Literally within 24 hours
of that show being taped, the talent releases started. So let's go through. What we're going to do is we're going to split this into two parts. Now, the first part, we're going to be talking about the talent cuts. The second part of this, we're going to be talking about the new television rights deal, which has also caused a bit of controversy. But let's look at who has been released, and we're going to play a game of where should they go now? So 19-year veteran. This is the one that's really caused more controversy and more media attention than anybody else. Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth, gone from WWE. Are you surprised by any of these releases? Because, we've got Dolph Ziggler, we've got Elias, we've got Shelton Benjamin, we've got Aaliyah, Top Dollar, Emma, Tenille Dashwood. I'm heartbroken for her, and we'll tell you the reason why in just a second. Husband, Riddick Moss, Mustafa Ali, Matt Riddle, Rick Boogs, Mace, Mansoor, Dana Brooke, Quincy Elliott, Dabakato, Shanky, Yulisa Leon, Daniel MacArthur, Kevin Cortis, Alexis Gray, Ika Manjiro, Brooklyn Barrow, and Melanie Brzezinski. And the last ones are from NXT / the Performance Center. So really, we've not seen them. We're not connected to them, but we still wish them well in their future endeavors. If you look at the main roster, though, are there any there that have surprised you in terms of who's been released?
Obviously, we haven't seen him for a while, but I was very surprised about Elias. I think he's an easy heel, or even with an easy face. But he hasn't been used for a while, and he not long before the releases, he put up a picture of him in Israel. So I know he's been having some time off, like recouping and that lot, because he had a few niggling issues. And I know same with Shelton Benjamin. He's been having some time off. He has had quite a bit of time backstage, and I'm very shocked they released him, not made him just like Bobby Roode and other people like that, where they just made them an agent. Because I think with his knowledge and his brain, he'd be a formidable force. Obviously, for me, Dolph Ziggler, like, my mind was quite blown when I saw him. Out of all the ones, I was shocked by a few, but I was like, are you being serious? I know we haven't seen him for a while, and but it's for me, I grew up, like, for me, for the last God knows how many years, he's always been there. He's always had that, either the face that everyone loves, or the heel that's, it should have been me, or the biggest Money in the Bank cash-in pop in history. No, for me, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 31 is a different type. That was the heist of the century. It was done in a different way. It wasn't on a Monday Night Raw after Mania when no one was expecting it, and suddenly his music hits. He comes out against a downed Alberto Del Rio. So that got me. The two that I'm glad with, and I'm saying this in respect of them, because I'm really glad for them that they finally got that. Thank you. I've been wanting to go for a while. You've let me go. And that is Mustafa Ali. He's been asking for so long. He's constantly tried new things, constantly gone. I'm a bit shocked, especially as he was supposed to have a match with Dominic Mysterio at No Mercy. But he's been asking for over 2 years to be released, and he's finally been given that right, that he can go and do what he likes. And I can tell you for sure, same with Dolph Ziggler. Tony Khan is sitting there going, come on, complete clause, complete clause, please close. I'm going to sign you. And I wouldn't be shocked if they're instantly. Yeah, I wouldn't blame him.
the thing is, though, a lot of the talents that they have got the 90-day complete clause or the 30-day complete courses if they're in NXT, but there is nothing to say that these talents have to stay under the 90 days. You can make contact with WWE and say, I want to, I want to forego any further payments, and you can be let go. Now, case in point of that was Chelsea Green when she was released the first time after she came back and sent out. Now, for me, there are a couple of interesting ones. And I just want to touch on Dolph Ziggler because you are right. Ziggler hadn't been used for a while. He was more of a, more of a comedy piece. When Bobby Roode got injured, that kind of killed the push of Dolph Ziggler because the Dirty Dogs tag team were doing tremendously well in the tag team ranks. They were built, they had momentum, they were doing good, they were winning matches, they were on TV. Bobby Roode goes off. Nick Nemeth is no longer on TV. You've got to think for him, AEW has to be a calling because of Ryan Nemeth, the brother. And you've got the Nemeth boys, and they could do the Hollywood show-offs. That whole gimmick is just, perfect for them. But does he need to go to All Elite? Does he need to go to any? I would love him to go, but does he need to go? He's 19 years in the business in WWE, right? You've pretty much done everything. Money in the Bank winner, Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, World Heavyweight Champion, cashed in on Raw after Mania. What is left for Dolph Ziggler? I can't call him that anymore. What is left for Nemeth to do in All Elite Wrestling?
Tag with his brother. He wanted because I want to say his name's Brylan. I think his brother. He or his ring name was Hawaiian FCW. They wanted that to be on the main roster, and they just wouldn't give his brother the chance. It was no, it's you or nothing to the situation.
I do think this though, Sam. If I can just jump in, WWE have really missed a trick here because 21 people have been eliminated. 23 people have been eliminated from WWE. Have been given their pink slips, but Ezekiel is still with the company. He's off on medical leave. I mean, how must Elias be feeling? He's just been released, and his brother, who's still laid up in a hospital bed, he's still got a job. So we could still see him turn up on Monday night, Tuesday night, or Wednesday night Raw, whatever night Raw is going to go on to. But
Gordon Bennett.
At least release Ezekiel at the same time. I mean,
definitely. But you could say that about you need to release Nikki from the Spirit Squad, and you need to release whatever the golf caddy was for Harbin White.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, Chava Guerrero. Yeah.
But,
anyway, but
on the point of all that, and obviously we're going to touch on it a bit more as well because we've got it. We've talked about it. But there's two guys in there who I'm also very surprised at, as Mace and Mansoor, because those guys, after the Maximum Male Models thing crashed, they instantly were on to very much crashed and burned. They instantly went into creative mode. They took cameras out and made their own new thing, which and Andy, I'm sure you'll touch upon because you want it all in your brain and that lot. But them and the fact of the other one, the other one is Dana Brooks. She constantly came with new ideas. She was the brain power behind her and Mandy Rose tagging together, and they had that moment at WrestleMania 36 or 37, should I say, where Mandy Rose slipped on the way down to the ring because of the rain. But she was constantly, and she asked to go down to NXT her most recent time. So she's another one. It's one of those people who constantly work and work and work. So yeah,
she was a Mandy Rose. Dana Brooke was, she revigorated herself when she went back to NXT because really she didn't do anything. Now, we're not trying to make light of the releases, right? Talking about Ezekiel and all that type of thing. All right, Sam, you can stop putting the TSC mug to camera. I know what you're doing. It's quite distracting.
cheap plug.
We're cheap plug. You can't buy them anywhere. They're exclusives.
No.
But we're not trying to make light of them. But the one that I'm genuinely shocked at is Aaliyah. Now, Aaliyah. early to mid 20s. She's got a whole career ahead of her. She was featured on NXT. She was featured on that Breaking Ground NXT documentary that they did on the WWE network. She tagged with Raquel Rodriguez on SmackDown and then got taken off TV. So, if anywhere, she needs to go to Impact, because I think if you put her in with the likes of Mickey James, with Trinity, with Deanna Purrazzo, with Taylor Wilde, with all of the Savannah Evans, all of the knockouts that are in Impact, she's got more of a chance to grow and shine. Now, the one that I feel really bad for, and this is just kicking yourself right where it hurts, is Tennille Dashwood, because on the day of the releases, WWE announced that in February they were doing, or they are going to be doing, Elimination Chamber from Australia. Now, it'll be the first premium live event that they've done globally from Australia. And you were getting really excited in our WhatsApp chat going, it's a 6 a.m. pay-per-view. Woohoo! I'm like, great.
No. I think it's going to be 9 a.m.
All right, 9 a.m.
I,
All right, it's
I
a
was talking to
morning
my sister-in-law who lives in Perth. She was explaining me about the time. I was like, oh, actually, that might be quite nice.
Yeah, a nice
Get
9 a.m.
Get Andy come round. We can put it on. Have a full English breakfast while watching it. Boom, sorted.
Sorted, mate. Sorted, monkeys. She tweeted going, "This is what I've been waiting for." 20 minutes later, oops, I've been released.
It was. I guess that's her out the window.
You couldn't, if it was a comedy sketch, you couldn't write it, could you? They announce it.
No.
She tweets it. She's released. I feel sorry for her because she's left Impact. She's left the independent scene to come back to WWE, and they did nothing with her. Absolutely, it's a case of just signing for the sake of signing. But why did the WWE release so many talent? Well, Dave Meltzer in Wrestling Observer newsletter said the key to the releases were talent making main roster money, but not being used on the main roster. And with the idea that they were not going to be used in the future. It's time in versus how much money you are paid versus return on investment, said one WWE official regarding the talent cuts. Now, Fightful Select has said that backstage there was some frustration by members of the roster because in that morning, WWE announced big money deal with NBC Universal, then released talent. One top star said that most of the people who were cut barely had a chance as they had not been booked. Some talent believe that WWE paired the releases along with the NBC Universal announcement and the Elimination Chamber Stadium show in order to minimize negative impact on the company. Others told Fightful they thought the day of mass layoffs were over, and so did I. And Sean Ross Sapp is now confirmed that majority of them are under 90-day non-complete and they will stand. So there's in business or in training, we're in HR, there's a thing called the proverbial sandwich. So yeah, what they do is they do the proverbial good news, bad news, which is great. But WWE have just gone good, bad. Why? Why would you do it? I don't get it. But there is rumors now, Sam, that more talent cuts are on the way, and it's Triple H guys.
Yeah.
So
And not to Triple H guys, but Performance Center guys as well.
I mean, this sounds really harsh, but the Performance Center guys, I wouldn't say I'm overly as concerned about because we don't know them.
When I mean PC guys, I mean as in like NXT guys.
Oh, okay. Well, you got to think he's still heavily involved in that, isn't he? But would you now consider Gargano to be at risk, Ciampa to be at risk, Karrion Kross to be at risk, Candice LeRae to be at risk?
I don't think DIY and Candice are at risk. Only reason being they are currently featuring on stuff. I say that, and you have Mustafa Ali, who's supposed to be in the championship match, has been let go.
Doesn't mean anything anymore, does it?
Yeah, I hope they don't go, but if they do, I can tell you one thing for sure. I bet those two guys have got enough money in the bank to go, do you know what? Stick your 90 days, shove it up your rear end. We're going to AEW or Impact straight away. And out of those previous people we talked about, though, I just want to touch on two wrestlers that I really, really, really hope for the best for them. One, I hope Elias goes to Impact because he would fit in there like a glove. And then AEW need, and I mean this is a capital N, capital E, and capital D, need to sign Mustafa Ali ASAP, and not just for the match against Buddy Matthews to have again. He needs to be. He would fit perfectly in. He'd fit in the TNT realm. He'd fit even if he got a tag team partner right. He'd fit into the tag team title. He'd fit into the main any part of that roster. He'd fit into perfectly.
Well, actually, Dave Meltzer and Daniel Bryan both agree with you, because Dave Meltzer wrote about how Ali could be a possibility for All Elite due to his past history with Danielson. Mustafa is a strong in-ring talent who works well and would be someone I could see ending up in AEW, especially since Danielson has been high. Danielson hand-picked Ali to work with for the WWE title on pay-per-view in early 2019, but he was injured by Randy Orton and his spot was taken by Kofi Kingston in the Elimination Chamber. He did end up recovering and got into a three-way for the title with Danielson and Owens, where he lost the fall and was never pushed at that level since. Now, Meltzer continues to state his work in NXT of late was as a strong, smarmy heel, feuding with both Lee and Dominic Mysterio for the North American title. His release was apparently because the decision was made they did not see using him on the main roster, and he was making main roster money. But it was notable they didn't even wait for his TV program to play out, or even wait a week to write him out the storyline. Ali had requested, as you said, to be released in January of 22 publicly, likely believing he would be a fit in better elsewhere, whether that be AEW or Japan, but was turned down. Eric Bischoff also comments on Mustafa Ali, saying, and I quote, "I think he's an amazing talent. I'm pretty good friends with him. I've stayed in regular contact with him since I left in 2019. I think the world of him. He's an amazing talent, and I know he has an amazing amount of drive and ambition. My guess is what I've come to know of him suggests to me that if anything, he will be even more motivated and inspired than he was 2 days ago at the time of this writing. I would not be shocked at all, based on his own desire, ambition, and abilities, to see him in All Elite Wrestling." So I think it's pretty much a lock now for Ali to go to AEW. Danielson is very close to Tony Khan. He's got a lot of influence with Tony Khan. In fact, Tony Khan has also said that if anything ever happened to him, he would give the reins to Daniel Bryan to run. That's tight. Well, if you think you've got EVPs of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and you're giving it to Daniel Bryan, that says a lot about the American Dragon. So I think he's safe. The two that you were referring to earlier on, Mason Mansour with the Pulp Fiction skit that they did, well, they say they were banned from TV. Now, they did a Twitch stream, and they said that, unexpected in the sense that I won't get into it, it sounds egotistical. I personally felt like there were a lot of untapped potential after the time we stopped traveling, when we were banned from TV. Now, I'm not going to get into that. That's from my book, Joy. Right after the time we stopped traveling, we put together these. We flew to Stamford to meet with the creative team of Raw, and we presented 2 pitch videos. Now, they were heavily inspired by Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs. Mansour also revealed he was asleep when he got the call about his release, and Mace was taking his daughter to school.
Yep. If you haven't watched it, guys, you need to go out and watch that video. My mind's blown why they weren't, because it was superb. And then interesting, in the video when they're doing this whole thing where they're basically talking to a WWE official, clearly a ref, and they've got him and they're talking to him, doing that to the thing. And there's a brilliant moment where he goes, and we're kind of working for someone, maybe goes by the name of, sounds like Zolf Diggler. Like, oh no, I said too much. And it's superb. It would have worked. Like, Maximum Male Models was just rubbish. It was rubbish. Let's put blue as blue. It was rubbish.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, totally.
But these guys made it work. If that makes sense. It was garbage. It was late 90s, early 2000s garbage. But they made it work. They were the modern day, and I hate to say this because I mean this in the nice way about the fact they still worked their rear ends off, even though it was rubbish.
I know where you're going.
They were the modern day Job Squad. and they were so good with it. Like, because they, bit like Stevie Richards, bit like Al Snow, bit like the Blue Meanie, they were given these moments where some people gone, I ain't doing that. I ain't going out and being a fool. But they went out and did it, and that's why I got so much respect. I've been a big fan of Mace back when he was in NXT, and then when he came up with what's it called? Was it Retribution?
Yeah.
Just superb, and he's taken whatever and he was even on commentary for a while, and I thought he was brilliant then. He wasn't the best, but he was really good when they tried him on commentary. And then he got power bombed by or F5'd by Brock Lesnar at one point, I think it was. And it went back when the commentary booth was up on the stage of Raw.
Yeah.
I love that. Those little things. But no, I thought fair play to him. They both have. And Mansoor, if you watch WWE The Bump on Wednesdays on their YouTube channel and also the network, he for a while was doing this thing where he was this masked character, like doing these amazing promos, and he is someone who is studied the game. He is a massive, 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 and I mean massive WWE mark. Like, he can do impressions, he can do promos, and he doesn't need it written in front of him. He could be blindfolded, and he does it word for word, and then he also does it blindfold. Like, he doesn't need. It's just incredible.
Well, you know what he needs to do, don't you? They need to go send him to AEW, pair him up with Jay Lethal, and you've got
oh my god, yes,
you've got the tag team of the Black Machismo, and then whatever character, or bring Aaron Solo in, so as a Damien Sandow style gimmick, and they could do the whole impersonations again. There's plenty to do. I think you've got much more time for Mason Mansoor than I have. I was never high on them. I didn't rate them as much as what you did, but fair play. Wrestling's an opinion. That's what it's all about. Right?
I'm a FCW NXT guy, so I love watching that type of stuff.
Well, I want to talk to you about that in just a second. But it's a shame to see anyone lose their job in this current climate in professional wrestling. What is interesting, though, is they've all just said, that's it, right? I'm done. Rick Boggs, however, is bitter. He does say that he thinks somebody up in corporate had it out for him. And when Vince was left disgracefully, that was his push done. Not sure about that. It was the same as the Man Mountain Rock gimmick. Didn't work. 90s gimmick, not really over. But who else is going to be released? That is honestly the big question that we're now waiting to find out. And you weren't here last week, but you did your viewpoint video, which Mike and I played, and then we talked about it. First week of TKO group. And we're already seeing certain things happening. Is it what you expected from the way the company was running, or do you think that they kind of shot the gun a little bit too much? Because what I'm hearing is a lot of people on social media going, well, hang on a minute, you're getting rid of all this WWE talent. Why haven't you touched any of the USC if it's about cost-cutting measures?
So, if when you say that, I was literally about to say, I was expecting the releases. I'm not going to lie. I was expecting budget cuts. They usually do it about a month, 2 months after Mania. It's usually during the spring in America, not normally during the fall. It's very surprising to have during the fall because obviously it's leading up to Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff like that. It's not a nice thanks, is it, when you've got things taken away from you instead of given to you? Yeah. But with the UFC thing, I think there's I'm going to put blue as blue, like I said earlier on. Someone put it on Twitter perfectly about the whole releases. The fact of UFC is full on fighting, like it's like a bit like Mike said last week. Because I said about the whole doing a super show. The factor of having it that you have two matches, one that you've got one guy who's beating the hell out two bells of the guy, and then you're not the next match doing the exact same move, but the guy's not bleeding or anything. It's a bit different if these guys are contracted fighters compared to, at the end of the day, break kayfabe, but wrestling is planned. There is all that type of stuff. Some parts of it aren't planned. I can tell you that for sure. I've been chucked through tables. I've had blooming chairs thrown over my back. I know you've had too.
I've had surgery on my shoulder, so yeah, no, I know what you mean.
So it's that factor of, we know that, and that's the thing is, yes, there should be releases in a way, or the fact of we're not going to have you on the next show, we're not going to have you in the next fight. You go off and fight for another one of the MMA promotions. However, it's a bit different, and this is the thing with the TKO group, is the fact that if you look at it, you have got two similar but also averse, I think the word is, but opposite companies coming together, and that's what's going to be great for the entertainment and for us viewers. However, it blurs the line between is it right or is it wrong. So it's really unfortunate. Like, I am not taking away from any of these 23 releases of so far, because if it is happening that there's going to be more releases, it's going to be next week's show. We're going to talk about that as well as doing our review of the Wrestle Dream. But what truly guts me about this is the fact of there was always going to be someone who got hurt, and because
that's a fair point.
And business is business. I have been in the higher rank part of a job. I've also been on the lowest of the low. I worked for a company that did nice smelling soaps and that lot, that's based in Dorset, that doesn't like animal cruelty. Need I say more, guys? It's just really lush. So when I worked for them, you worked your rear end off, literally worked it off and worked it off to only be 2 weeks after Christmas, let go. Compared to I have also been the person who has been able to go into a group and say, oh, just so you know, you're all staying. None of you temporary people are going unless you want to go. And it's the thing is, some businesses can, some businesses can't. And we see this massive two companies come together and think, oh, amazing money. We're going to have all the money in the world. But sometimes they have priorities in different places. Like we've read that we've got John Cena for a few more weeks. We've got The Rock for a few more weeks, and that's not just because of the writers' strike. Yes, it is helped, but there is the factor of they're going to stay around a bit longer, and that's the money. Because what's going to draw in the money? The Rock or John Cena or Roman Reigns or the main event, Jey Uso or Cody Rhodes or Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, or I'm going to put it bluntly, and I'm saying this out of respect, but Riddle, Mustafa Ali, Rick Boogs, and Mace, and I'm just using these guys as an example. I've got respect for all 23 guys because they have got in the ring. They have been signed with the WWE, and that's not an easy feat. It's that factor of it's the nature of the beast, and like Dave Meltzer said, you've got to weigh up what you're going to make money on, what you're paying. And budget cups happen, and I'm not being harsh, but blue is blue. You can't go against the factor of you have to make money somehow, and sometimes that is letting go of people who are costing more but on a lesser thing. So it's like working in a hospital, someone being paid a nurse wage but not doing a nurse job. So
it's a fair comment to kind of come out with and say, because I've worked in the HR industry for over 20 years, so the one person who has to go in and have these conversations is me, and the person who's also been on the receiving end of those conversations, especially coming out of the pandemic era, is me, right? So you understand the emotion that's going through. I think America is a very different kettle of fish anyway in terms of their employment law. It's not like, and we're not going to go down that route. It's not like the UK or the EU or anything.
That is a rabbit hole no one wants to go down.
Absolutely, but it's not like the UK or the EU where it's very structured. The Americans use what they call an at-will contract, which means that they can be terminated at will. You could basically walk in to the office at 9 o'clock in the morning, and 9:05 you could be walking back out again with a pink slip, right? That's the way the American working economy goes. Is it right? That's not for us to decide. That's down to Biden and political landscape, right? But what I will say is this: we're talking about where these 23 workers are going to go, or what they're going to do, or where they're going to play their craft now. You've got to sit there and think AEW cannot be the best answer. And the reason for that is very simple. They've got an oversaturated roster. So you go to AEW, effectively you're in the same position as what you're in with WWE, where you're going to be signed, but not on TV. Let's take Wardlow, for example, right? Impact is a good opportunity. Impact tape a month's worth of TV. You're on there. They fly you in. You're done. Right? You then can go out and work the indie scene. Matt Cardona, best of both worlds. Indie scene, GCW, pay-per-view, Impact, pay-per-view, NWA, pay-per-view. You can make money, more money on the independent scene than you potentially could in WWE. It's just about how you apply that craft. So where they go is going to be interesting. But before we move on to the TV rights, there was one news story that's kind of come out that I think we need to talk about before we get onto that. Now, we mentioned at the top of this that TKO or Endeavour own 51% of UFC. They have the controlling interest in UFC. They have 49% of the WWE, which means that McMahon still has a 51% stake. He holds 28.84 million TKO shares, which are valued at $3 billion as of last week. TKO, however, have registered all of McMahon's shares for sale, meaning that McMahon is able to avoid the lockup period that applies to other TKO shareholders. According to TKO's SEC filing plan that dropped last month, McMahon, along with 2 other TKO executives, will be selling stockholders in this offering. This was done to give TKO and McMahon some flexibility as he continues to be investigated by the federal government for payouts he made to cover up potential sexual allegations. There was some deep research done by an organization called Axios that's revealed that TKO had this to say about McMahon in the SEC filing. Now, we talked about that in terms of competitors last week. Vince McMahon's membership on our board could expose us to negative publicity and or have other adverse financial and operational impacts on our business. His membership also may result in additional scrutiny or otherwise exacerbate the other risks described herein. Any of these outcomes could directly or indirectly have adverse financial and operational impacts on our business. Now, you have to be sitting there now going, time is a ticking for one Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
And if not, if he comes back onto TV, which he won't, but if he did, he has to have his son's. Well, he can't, but if he ever did, he needs to have his son's blooming theme tune. Here comes the money. Like, but no, I think
you've got more chance of No Chance in Hell playing before McMahon ever comes out, right?
Yeah, but I think it's also that factor of maybe he should have been given his future endeavours. Maybe they should have turned around to him and gone, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, here's your pink slip. Good luck in all your future endeavours or whatever that might be.
Yeah, but Vince is very clever because he's orchestrated. You know, he came back, he pulled his stock ruling to be able to come back to the board. He's negotiated this deal. He's got the best for Vince McMahon. Great, right? What I'm getting at with this is the minute Vince goes, you have to know that Endeavour will buy those 28.84 million shares that they've got, which will then give them controlling interest of WWE. At that point, it's Endeavour. Then I think that's when you will start seeing a lot more changes to the overall product. And I'm going out on a limb here. I give Triple H 12 months.
What, when that happens?
Within that, no. Oh, now, from now.
Oh, no. Yeah, no.
I think he's had enough. I give Hunter 12 months.
Yeah. I think he's had enough. There was a picture. Oh, it's heartbreaking. They had this picture of them outside the stock exchange with the 2 logos and all this blah blah blah. And you got Bianca Belair and Montez Ford, which brilliant but very interesting choice. But it was the fact for me. It was the fact of I would have had one. No offense, Bianca or Montez, but I had one big name from WWE, and I'd have had a UFC fighter. Not Conor McGregor, but a UFC fighter, maybe the champion. Like maybe the 2 of the big champions have Seth Rollins and whoever the champion is over UFC. I'm really not up to date with it. I need to keep up with date a bit. But I'd have had that instead of having 2 WWE guys. It was very weird. But there's a picture, and you can see Triple H. He's pulling the most. It's the classic. a 10-year-old boy's just been told that his mum and dad are about to have a baby girl, and he's like,
I
"Yay!
love it.
I've got a sibling, and it's not a boy. Yay!"
Oh, amazing. I love that.
But it's
I love that.
true,
I
and
love that.
it breaks my heart because he has the game and he wants to play. Like I remember watching back the video of when he returned after having that massive quad injury, and he came
Yeah.
back, and he came back in the leather jacket with a denim sleeveless over the top, and he came out the biggest pop, boom, came out, spit the water, massive, and then now he's this almost like depleted guy. And someone even said, "Do you see him on X?" Someone said, "Oh, do you see him on a different company?" I was like, "No."
I
It
do.
just made me giggle. Oh,
I
no,
do.
yeah,
I
but
do.
as in, like, no, as in they said wrestling, because are they stopping him? I went, no, it's Fleming Hart that's stopping him from wrestling. I could see him going to another company. Oh yeah,
You get out. He's going to get a decent payout if he left WWE right now. You've got to imagine Stephanie's had a decent payout. They don't need to work. I mean, I'm spitballing here. I don't know. None of us know. Like Mike said last week, we don't know the inner workings, right? We got no idea. You've got to use some logical reasoning and assume that that's the situation, right? If I was Tony Khan and all of a sudden Triple H became available, what would you do?
oh wait, I'd pick him up, but I'm thinking of another one.
Who?
Impact.
I,
They've got all that money.
With all due respect to Impact, I don't think they would have enough to afford him.
No, as in they would buy him and Stephanie would
Oh, they would buy
buy
Impact from Axis.
buy
Oh,
Impact.
yeah.
Yeah.
From Anthem.
I think that would be
Possibly.
amazing, or even part shares, and not do a Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan stuff. I'm meaning as in, like, I think they've. But yeah, I completely agree. I wouldn't blame Tony, because Tony's never public. There's nothing publicly ever said that he hates Triple H or Stephanie.
There's definitely been some, let's put it, negative
Yeah,
banter between the two of them. But you're right. I think
there's never hatred.
whoever Triple H went to work with, and we're like I said, we're spitballing. We don't know if this is even in the cards or if it's even going to happen. But let's say he did go to AEW. Whoever got him is like getting the Maradona of wrestling, right? The demigod. Because what that guy does.
You mean Pele?
Sorry, Pele. Yeah, Pele. No, I don't know football. I was trying to be cool.
We don't want to talk about that Maradona guy. Oh no, go away.
Okay,
Dirty
I was
player.
I was trying to be cool. That backfired on me. I was trying to be relevant.
No.
That Pele dude. Yeah. Him. That. Yeah. We want him.
Never change, Andy. Never change.
Okay. At least we don't want like a Rishi Sunak impersonator. We want Pele. I've lost where I was going with this now. Thanks, Sam. You could have told me that offline.
But no, it's true. But we could easily. But at the end of the day, we could do a whole what if show on that, because I think it's a really good talking point that we could have is, if he was released, what does he do next? And I wouldn't blame him for wanting to go to a different company.
Could you imagine any company that did have him having that untapped knowledge of the McMahon mind, right? You've worked closely with Vince for over 30 years. You know how that man works. You know more about booking and creative direction and the art form of telling a story than anybody. That would elevate any promotion to that next level.
Or even the Levesque mind. His own mind.
Yeah.
Look at what he's done with like NXT when it was the proper, and I mean proper NXT. Or look at the fact of when he has brought people in and he is creative. Like, they called it the Triple H era, but it's true, and it's up that. But we could also talk about that another show. We've got so much more to talk about this week's show. But
it's the Triple H effect, isn't it? That's entirely what it is. All right, let's talk about the television rights, because it is now official, and I am genuinely surprised about this. Smackdown is leaving Fox in October 2024. Now that is huge, because that is network TV, and they are leaving Fox. They are going back to NBC Universal, which means Smackdown will now be on USA Network on a Friday night, beginning October 2024. And during that 2024-2025 season, WWE will produce 4 prime time specials per year that will air on NBC. marking the first time WWE will air on the network in prime time. I instantly messaged you and went, Saturday night's main event's back. Yeah. But
It's true though. Can't wait.
Yeah, I love Saturday night main event. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just like Collision. Now, the reported value of that deal is estimated to be around $1.4 billion, which is a 40% increase from WWE's previous deal with Fox. It is still less than what Nick Khan, too many Khans, what Nick Khan said they were going for, which was a 50% increase. It's worth noting that Fox didn't aggressively try to keep SmackDown, which is interesting in its own right, but it also means that TKO stock went down to levels of WWE before the takeover. This did not sit well with the market. Now, there's more news coming out because now it has been confirmed that the futures of Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night NXT are also now up in the air. According to the Hollywood Reporter and later confirmed by the Wall Street Journal, neither Raw nor NXT will have its rights renewed by NBC Universal following the acquisition of SmackDown. Now, that means that neither program will continue with USA Network after their deals expire. At this time, there's no word as to where Raw or NXT could end up. Now, prior to moving to USA in 2019, NXT aired exclusively on the WWE Network. Meltzer has obviously been out. He's been talking and saying that actually WWE are open to shipping Raw to any other night of the week. The night they are considering is, what do you think?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday Night Raw.
Now, there's only two for me. I'll be okay with Monday Night Raw because it's been out for years.
Yeah.
And Monday Night Raw.
And that's what a lot of people are saying. The brand is Monday Night Raw.
But interesting, it has dropped the Monday night on its visuals. Has done for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
It's dropped Monday Night Raw for a long time, I think.
Yeah, but as in like, but there was the new entrance.
Oh,
There's a new
did it have Monday night on it?
Yeah, it used to have the Monday night up until 2 or 3 weeks ago when they did this new video, which has featured certain people that are going to have to already change because they've just been released. But it's dropped Monday night for about 2-3 weeks now. But yeah, before then, yeah, it has been dropping it from other stuff, but it hadn't dropped it from the main opening video. So it's an interesting thing. I really don't want it to move. I'd be up for NXT maybe moving to Thursday because I liked it on Thursday. But it's a really gutting thing. I don't think they need to change it.
So here's one for you then. Are we looking, and you can tell we're a wrestling show, can't you? Because you know what's going to come next. Are we looking at a swerve? SmackDown goes to USA Network. Fox goes for Raw and NXT.
Yeah.
Now, the ratings
Friday night, Friday night Raw, Monday night SmackDown. I was going to lose a brain.
But no, I mean, at the end of the day, the ratings for Monday Night Raw have gone down significantly over the past few months. It's been on a downward spiral. Now that Meltzer is saying that if it went to Wednesday night, that would be bad news for All Elite Wrestling, and you've got to think it will be. This isn't like the NXT Wars. This isn't like you can come and destroy NXT 2.0. This is your flagship program, Monday Night Raw. But I don't know. I don't know if it will work. It doesn't feel right. I mean, they've done the odd Thursday Night Raw or Thursday Raw Thursday, whatever you want to call it, back in the Attitude Era, back in the day when it was the 1 hour and they did those slots. But weekly, not having Monday Night Raw, just doesn't seem right.
The only, in being all seriousness, I think, and if it wasn't for football like the NFL and that lot, Sunday night would be the other night because it's like the end of the week, or even some people view it as the start of the week. Either way, I think it's not great. But it was interesting when reading some of the comments you see on X, and someone was saying about how the setup is as well. You've got to look about what do you need to look at about it. You've got the factor of if you move it to Wednesday night, yes, it is the flagship show, it's the biggest show. AEW, you've got to be a bit worried, but actually on the other side of it is another competitiveness. It doesn't need to be happening. someone also said, what about having it on Monday still, but knocking it down to a 2-hour show? Don't have that third
Yeah.
hour. It doesn't need a third hour. It's just that factor of, for me, their numbers are dwindling and they show it in that third hour. Unless there's a massive main event booked, and sometimes it's not, it's made on the show, we then go, well,
But
who wants to watch the third hour? And it's the fact that at one point they were thinking even to make Smackdown 3 hours. No,
thank God they didn't do
please
that.
no.
But, I mean, it makes you wonder though, because forget the 3-hour thing for a minute, because that's been an age-old discussion that's been going on for, 10, 15 years since they moved to a 3-hour Monday Night Raw format. But to me, what this does is echoes once again that conversation that you and I have had, that Mike and I have had on previous shows, that there is actually too much TV content to watch in any given week. Because potentially you're going to be getting, let's go this way, Wednesday night Raw, don't like that. Thursday night NXT, Friday night SmackDown, Saturday night pay-per-view, right? Or Sunday night pay-per-view. Boom, 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 boom. You've then got
It's too
Wednesday
much.
night. You've then got Wednesday night Dynamite. You've then got Friday night Rampage. You've got Saturday night Collision. Boom, boom, boom. Too much. What would be a real tongue-in-cheek move would be this: Dynamite move into Mondays. Why? And
No,
I'll tell you
Collision.
why.
Collision Monday.
Collision
Monday
Monday.
Night Collision.
Well, is Collision the flagship show of All Elite now? It feels different to Dynamite.
It feels different. I think it would also work better. Monday night. Oh no, Monday night Dynamite. It kind of Monday night Dynamite. Monday night Dynamite kind of works. Yeah. There you go, Tony. There's a new theme tune for you.
I apologise to all of our listeners. Sam did want to come back. If anybody is available for guest hosting spot next week, you're hired. I think it's one of those shows to me. But what I'm trying to get at here is, if you were Tony Khan, you would go to TNT or TBS, move me to Monday nights. There is an audience there. That audience is prime. They've known Monday nights being a wrestling night since 1993, right the way through the Attitude Era of WCW and the WWE. They know Monday nights. Yeah? Ratings go through the roof.
Yeah. Here's a better idea.
No.
In all seriousness, I think, because I've always thought this, SmackDown could work well on a Saturday. Saturday night SmackDown or Saturday SmackDown, like, because it's one of those things that I think could work. That's my own personal view, but I think could actually work.
It's one of those things. The Saturday night,
getting ready for going out, you watch a bit of SmackDown, sorted, done.
It's kind of like a dead slot. And actually, I think that if you think about Collision, it's struggling a bit now with ratings. Maybe that's because of CM Punk no longer being there, but it is struggling with ratings at the moment. But I don't know. You might be right. I just think there's too much wrestling. Saturday night SmackDown, Saturday night Collision, Saturday night pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Saturday night's main event, Well, that's another thing.
But then also that's another thing, is the fact that if you put whatever goes on a Saturday, then it's going to be smirched by the fact that they're now doing pay-per-views on Saturday. Which, what I'm saying is, why didn't WWE do that back in the day when I could stay awake? Because my health would allow me to stay awake through the night and not have to worry about, I've got to take a Monday off work, or have to go into college really, really tired with no sleep, and I'm drinking a stupid amount of energy drinks doing it. Like, why? I know, I used to. Like, amount of bosses that got used to it. It's that time of the month again.
Do you know what? I remember a couple of years on the trot now, I used to go up to Dan Barnstall's house, and there was a whole group of us, and we used to watch WrestleMania. And anyone who knew the Total Wrestling Show, we used to do the live, like, WrestleMania preview show. Then we used to sit and watch WrestleMania. And then I would get the train back home. I would get back into Weymouth at about 9 o'clock the following morning, right? Because the train leaves at like 10 to 6 or something like that. And then put a suit on and go straight into the office.
Yeah.
Can't tell you what I did those days, but would go in and work into the office.
WrestleMania, I want to say it was 26, may have been before that. But back in the day, we used to do a PPV crew, and it was me, my brother, and quite a few of our friends, and we used to do a massive, I mean massive WrestleMania weekend, because it used to also fall on the same weekend of what's it called, Grand National. So we'd all get round there, watch the Grand National, put a bets on. I think, and that year I won £100. I was really happy. And on Aurora Encore, I only picked it because Aurora was the name of Triple H's daughter, because she's Aurora Rose. Because I'm a nerd. So did that. Then we had that night. We had a karaoke night, a few drinks and that lot, a few bit of takeaway. Then we slept over and got up the next morning, did a few things. Then we went off and did swimming at the local swimming pool at Kent Welsh swimming pool in. No, we didn't swing in Roscoe. We swam at at Kent Welsh swimming pool pool. But the thing was, we did.
What did Ross Kemp? Get out of my camp!
My simp, yeah. But we so we did that. Then we'd go back, and we all disappear off at different points in Matt's house. And we'd go to get dressed up into full fancy dress, and we'd watch and go. I remember coming out as one year I came out as Dolph Ziggler, had my hair bleached and hair slicked back. Another year I did Sabu. Another year I did Hulkster. We all did these different costumes and great costumes. And it's the thing was, we made a big weekend of it. And the funniest thing was, we then did watch WrestleMania because it was only one night back then. And I still remember clear as day. We finished it, and I back there as a bit of a smoker. Do not influence it, but I'm just saying I did that then. And I remember going to my brother. I went, "Oh, you're going to go to sleep?" I went, "No, mate. I've got 3 hours before I have to leave yours to go to college." I was about to do show week. We were literally going into show week of a show at college, and I was playing one of the main characters. And I remember going in zonked. But that's what wrestling does for us, and that's what I'm saying. Also with this is the fact that if you had it Wednesday night for Raw, Thursday night for NXT, Friday night for SmackDown, and then you think we had a WrestleMania weekend, we went. Or let's say, for instance, that happened, yeah? WrestleMania 41. You'd have Wednesday night for Raw, Thursday night for NXT, and you probably realistically that wouldn't be an NXT, it would be a stand deliver. You do it on that night. You would then do Friday night. You would have the SmackDown, and then the Hall of Fame. Then night 1 of WrestleMania, night 2 of WrestleMania. Obviously, then wouldn't have Monday Night Raw the night after, so that kind of takes the fun of it. But you would have 5 nights back to back burnout, and bearing in mind, if you were to go to WrestleMania, if it makes sense, you would also have the factor of you've got WrestleCon, you've got StarCast, you've got all these other things that will be going on. So it's going to cost thousands and also burn you out. People will come back from America completely burn out. So if it came to this country, none of us would really want to go. Or just have to pick one night because you're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. My bank account take a year.
Quick maths for you then. On that scenario that you've just discussed, you are looking at 20 hours of just WWE contract, and that's working on 3 hours Raw, 2 hours NXT, 2 hours SmackDown, 2 hour Hall of Fame, and then 8 hours for WrestleMania, because you're looking at about 4 hours for the main show, just the main show, not pre-show.
But you think about that, you then got to add 8 hours on top of that from the previous year's WrestleMania that you'd probably watch on a Tuesday as you run up to WrestleMania.
Not everybody would do that.
Every year, I used to before we had stupid amount of years. I used to do me, Matt, and Sam, and our friend. We used to do every year. We used to do the run up from Royal Rumble. We'd watch like a certain time. We'd even send each other our schedules about which night we were watching each WrestleMania. Now I just watch the year before's 2 nights, and then that's enough of burnout.
Maybe what we need to do is we need to do the TSC pay-per-view crew, and we'll get Matt. We'll get a couple other people. We'll get Lee. We'll get Steve. A few other people, and we'll do it live.
A mega show,
and we'll stream it out. There we go. Right, that is it for Talking Point this week. I mean, we haven't covered everything. You can't cover everything. There's so many what ifs. I wouldn't want to be anybody in WWE right now. That the morale must be in the toilet, and I can only imagine what it's like. And like we said, you know, best of luck to everybody who got released, not only in the offices, but also talent. Good luck. You will find something out there. But now it's time to go into our DeLorean, to strap that seatbelt in, touch the flux capacitor, and go 88 to the miles as we go. Wrestling history. Wrestling history.
Woo!
There we go.
No.
Right. So the first one we're going to look at this week is. Oh, hello. The first one what is going on here? The first one we're going to look at this week is on September the 25th, 2000, and it's Vince Russo defeating Booker T in a steel cage match to win the WCW Championship on Monday Nitro. Collectively, the wrestling world put their heads in their hands. And actually, I was doing some research on this, Sam. This is one of the 12 most, it's easy for me to say, one of the 12 most detested championship reigns in professional wrestling. Only David Arquette is higher than Vince Russo. There you go.
But I'm sorry, but realistically, we will never get him on our show. But that's because it's Vince Russo.
Oh, I tried to get Vince Russo on the show. I tried.
I bet.
No. Yeah, no.
No.
Now, interestingly, on September the 25th of the year 2000, so I think, actually, the same day, do you know what happened?
Was it for the first time Monday night?
Do not look at your show plan.
I don't know, Andy. What happened on the same night of the same year?
Breaking the fourth wall. It was this. Monday Night Raw left the USA Network and went to TNN for the first time. Now, this was the first ever episode not to broadcast on USA, and it lasted for a while, for 5 years, before returning to the USA Network for Raw Homecoming in 2005. Now, what's interesting here is TNN, formerly the Nashville Network, later renamed to Spike TV, would have held ECW TV prior to Monday Night Raw. And then when Raw went off the air, what went onto it? Impact Wrestling.
Then they had to deal with channel, and they had a deal. Spike TV had to deal with channel TV over in this country.
Yeah, but also what was worse is Spike TV had to deal with Vince Russo. See how we're linking wrestling history together?
Yeah. All right. Very, very clever. Very clever.
I'm not just a pretty face. Not just a pretty face.
You're a hat rat too.
Okay. On September the 27th, 1999, it was the highest rated segment in Monday Night Raw history in terms of audience. It featured Mankind presenting This Is Your Life to The Rock. It would feature guests such as The Rock's home economics teacher, gym teacher, and old high school girlfriend, and would insult them all in wonderful Rock fashion. This segment had an 8.2 audience rating and welcomed us to Merkel the Clown. Not to be confused with Angela Merkel from Germany.
It was just brilliant. It was just so clever.
It was great.
And it was Mick Foley and Dwayne Johnson just at their peak of being comedy, Rock and Sock Connection, just superb.
Yeah, absolutely. You just couldn't fate it. September the 28th, 1993, we had a wrestling challenge taping, one of the classics, and it was Ludwig Borger facing off against Tatanka in his first loss in the company since joining the WWF in 1992. So he'd gone on and faced guys like Shawn Michaels, the model Rick Martel, all of the $1 Million Corporation. He had competed at Survivor Series of that year, but this was his first loss. And this would set the scene for Survivor Series 1993, which was the All-Americans versus the Foreign Fanatics. So Lex Luger, Tatanka, The Undertaker, and I can't remember the last person on the team, up against the Yokozuna, the Quebec, I can't remember. We'll cover it in November when we get there. But I love Classic Wrestling Challenge. I love wrestling history. Wrestling history is brilliant. Now, September the 28th, 1998 was this. It's a Zamboni. Stone Cold Steve Austin entered Monday Night Raw in a Zamboni, following on from the finish of the previous night's main event, where both The Undertaker and Kane pinned WWF champion Steve Austin. McMahon came to Raw to announce that neither Taker or Kane were the champion. With a ring full of staff, McMahon was about to make his announcement when the cameras cut to Stone Cold driving a Zamboni through the backstage area and to the ring. Crashing into the ring, Austin then launched himself from the top of the Zamboni and started a beatdown on McMahon in what is one of the most watched segments to the day. And that would then follow on because the following week, Vince is laid up in hospital, you know, nursing the wounds from the attack of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this would happen. Miss Merkel, the clown, makes a reappearance, and so does Mankind with Mr. Socko. But Steve Austin attacks Vince McMahon in his hospital bed in one of the most classiest, funniest scenes I think we have ever had. At the same taping as D'Lo Brown defeating X-Pac to win the European Championship, we had McMahon in hospital. He was visited by Mankind first, featuring the debut of Mr. Socko. I don't know if you knew that. And later on, Vince was attacked by one Stone Cold Steve Austin. Tremendous. Now, on September the 29th, 2005, the Chicago native CM Punk wrestled his first match as a contracted WWE wrestler when he defeated Danny Inferno in his OVW debut. I love wrestling history.
Yeah, same.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Nice little nostalgia chip.
We should take one of the, when we do wrestling history, we should take one of these shows and just break it down a bit more. That would be cool.
Oh, sounds good to me. I'll just have a whole week of nostalgia.
A whole week of nostalgia. Okay. Now, we were going to be doing challenge at this point. However, my throat is a bit sore tonight, so I'm not going to do it. I got a feeling I'm going to lose my voice. So we're going to kick over to this wrestling moment of the week. Now, you've never done this before, Sam. In fact, I only launched it last week. This is, what are your favorite moments from this past week in the professional wrestling from us, the hosts, and why did you choose it? Now, it could be anything. It could be a live show that you've attended. It could be a pay-per-view. It could be a TV show. It could be a match. It could be a promo. It could be anything. Sam, the floor is yours.
I think the thing for me for this last week was on the Smackdown. No, not Smackdown. It was sorry. It was Smackdown, and you had the amazing moment where Solo Sikoa just suddenly appears on top of like a truck, and he does the proper like Samoan Umaga and even Yokozuna, the hop type of moment, and then he jumps on top of AJ Styles. But the funniest thing is when this happened, it felt like I was back in the Attitude Era, and it felt like something was going on. That whole backstage segment felt very Attitude Era-ish, and I loved it. So I'm loving this whole. Always Jimmy back with the bloodline? Is he not? Is he then just going to be? Oh yeah, but is it the fact they're using him and then they're going to suddenly Samoa spike him and go, "We just used you because Roman was away at the moment." I just think it's brilliant. I'm loving this whole attitude, and I love the fact they're constantly using Solo. I'm a massive Solo Sikoa fan, so yeah, they're really good.
As much as we've kind of dissed WWE this week for the releases and stuff like that, they are doing some things right, and Solo is one of the best things on TV at the moment. My wrestling moment of the week isn't Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, Collision, Impact, or anything like that. I'm going to Netflix.
Oh yes, I asked you on WhatsApp, but we were so busy with the releases. Yeah. Oh my god, I know what you're on about, and how do I? Because for me, the wrestling week, I think that is like the shows and that lot. I'm gonna have to echo what you're about to say.
Thanks. So for those of you who don't know, I watched Glow. No, it was The Wrestlers. Tremendous. I mean, I'm not all the way through it yet. I'm about halfway through the series. It is, if you haven't seen it, it is absolutely incredible. you see a whole different take of Al Snow. The talent that they've got in OVW, they are raw. You know, they need a lot of work. It's great seeing Jesse Goddard's Mr. Spectacular. I've interviewed him a
Yeah,
few times. You know, nice guy. But seeing him get the rub in OVW, and then you know, Shira,
yeah,
yeah, from Impact,
Sierra.
yeah,
Yeah,
and Renkar King and Al Snow and how they're trying to keep OVW alive and the conflict between him and the new co-owners. It is tremendous. If you want a reality show that isn't Total Divas, that is actually legit, check out
and
the
it's,
rest
it's
on Netflix.
and I also felt it was like a reality show meets a documentary, and that's what I liked about it. Is the fact that you
Yeah.
feel that vibe from it. And I think it's really good. Um, I'll give a bit of a trigger warning, as they call it these days. One of the episodes, and it won't be a really big spoiler. One of the episodes, the owner has a moment with a seizure because he's epileptic. It is a very hard watch. I will fully admit. I fully admit. I'm a close to emotions anyway, but I cried because I'm someone who suffers from seizures. See that moment, I will pre-warn you. You do know it's coming up, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So just a pre-warn. I just want to put a trigger out warning right out there because it's always good to do that. But honestly, the makers of this program should be applauded and thanked because it's so well done.
Do you think this is a backdoor pilot for OVW to go on Netflix on a weekly basis?
Yeah. Um, it's getting everyone to know these people and then for it to happen. And I wouldn't blame them. I wouldn't blame them at all. And they would deserve it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's just so good.
And imagine if they did like OVW Gold, some of the matches they could do with that, with the likes of, you know,
God, yes.
Leviathan, John Cena as prototype. And WWE can't do anything about it because it's
No.
their footage. So that's my moment of the week. I will also say that I've just started to watch Heels season 2. Stephen Amell. Uh,
I need to watch season 1.
Big shout out to Lee who told me to go and watch season 2. Season 1 is brilliant. Season 2 is even better. So we'll be doing something on the podcast feed with a wrap up of Heels in the next coming days. And Monster Factory on Apple TV. That's another cracker. If you know about the Monster Factory in the States, one of the most respected wrestling schools out there, they have got a docuseries similar to OVW's Wrestler on Apple TV. Started watching that today as well. There we go.
Nice.
That's moment of the week. Now, this isn't going to be all you see of TSC. Ah, this isn't going to be all you see of TSC, huh? That was
That
cool.
needs to be on a t-shirt.
That worked. That worked. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Because we'll be back later this week with a Wrestle Dream preview show where we'll be looking at all the matches that are announced as of writing. This will be prior to Dynamite. Okay, so there might be some matches being more announced on Dynamite. There might be some on Collision. As with Tony Khan, he likes doing that. We can't always compensate. But the 9 matches that have been announced so far, we will be previewing and giving you our predictions. But I want to give a big shout out, if I can, to our friends over at Extreme Sports and also to our friends at New Japan Pro Wrestling. Because 5 days ago, New Japan aired Destruction in Kobe. And it will now receive its British premiere on Friday, the 29th of September at 7 p.m. exclusively on the Extreme channel on Pluto TV. So, Extreme Sports will yet again treat its viewers to exclusive content this Friday as it broadcasts Destruction to Kobe just 5 days after the live event. The Destruction series began in 2007, now takes place multiple times per year across various locations in Japan, and it features some of the world's most renowned professional wrestlers, such as elite British athletes Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. Current NJPW World TV Champion Zack Sabre Jr., the self-proclaimed greatest technical wrestler of all time and resident New Japan bad guy, said, UK, don't be morons. Make sure to watch Destruction in Kobe at 7 p.m. exclusively on Extreme Sports in the UK. Don't miss it. We also said it's featuring Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay will be facing off and defending his IWGP US Championship against Yota Tsuji in the main event, which will be the first defense of that title. And you can watch it here in the UK on Extreme Sports on Friday, September the 29th at 7 p.m. on Pluto TV. To watch Pluto TV, all you need to do is head over to the iOS or Android Play Store, download the app, and you can watch it on your device. If you've got a smart TV or an Xbox XS or PS4, PS5, you can download the app from the respective stores, and you too can be a part of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Destruction in Kobe. I'm looking forward to it. Sam, are you looking forward to it?
Very much looking forward to it. I shall be giving that a watch.
Absolutely. And don't forget, it's only 24 hours ahead of seeing Will Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. in action at All Elite Wrestling, Wrestle Dream Live on pay-per-view on Fight. So again, big shout out to Extreme Channel for New Japan. Brilliant to see that getting representation over here in the UK. Cannot wait to watch that special pay-per-view event.
Definitely.
All right, Sam, I think for us, that is it done for the main TSC show this week. It's always brilliant to have you back on the broadcast, and numbers galore. You've done it well, my friend, and it's great to have you back.
Thank you very much. Glad to be back. And just before we go, a big shout out to Impact Wrestling. For we will be there in attendance on the 29th of October, and you'll hear more about that leading up to that 29th of October.
You know, I forgot about that. That's right, because Impact are coming over for the UK Invasion Tour October 26th to 29th. Tickets are still available at impactwrestling.com/events. The entire roster has now been announced. You can see the likes of Impact World Champion Alex Shelley, former Impact World Champion Josh Alexander, Eddie Edwards, the Virtuosa Deanna Purrazzo, Eric Young, just announced Rhino, Gail Kim will be making an appearance. Will Ospreay is going to be there. They're going to be doing a live Turning Point special event in Newcastle on the 27th, and Grado will be there as well. And so will we. Impact Wrestling UK Invasion Tour takes place in October. We will see you October the 29th in Coventry. If you see us, come and say hi. Who knows? You may even get a mug. There we go. Sam, any last things before we wrap up this edition?
No, it's been a pleasure to come back. And I'm back. There's going to be so many great talking points we're going to have coming up. We've got a few plans. I know we've got in the pipeline. We're going to be talking about our Mount Rushmore wrestling. We're also going to be doing the Wyndham Rotundo legacy show at some point. Yep. We'll advertise it in time. And that show, it will probably be a complete show, just him. We won't even do talking points. He will be the talking point. So yeah. We can't wait to see what happens next. Just make sure you're along the road with us, watching us on YouTube, watching us on Spotify, listening to us on any other podcast provider. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, not Twitter, X, should I say. It's still getting used to saying it. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch, and on X at TSC Wrestling Pod, and also use the hashtag TSC Pod. So yeah, that's it.
Going forward, I'm going to give you a 30-second timer to see if you can do that in 30 seconds. That's just going to be the challenge for you. Seamless. Right. We will see you next week right here at the Square Circle. Actually, we won't. We will see you later this week right here on TSC with Wrestle Dream Preview. But until then, for Sam, I'm Eddie Evans. We will see you at the matches. So long. Good night. Farewell.